Guys, welcome back to the channel. I know I normally cover a lot of Mr. News, but I wanted to share with everybody just something that was really amazing and a really nice open source project that I've just been blown away by. And that is the GBS-control, which is a custom firmware for the GBS-8200 video scalers. Now, these video scalers were commonly found in arcade machines, especially when people do conversions from a CRT monitor to an LCD screen. And these are really, by themselves, just garbage scalers. But Rama has released a GitHub page with the Gbs-control custom firmware, and it turns these garbage scalers into really fantastic scalers that are near OSSC and Framemeister-like quality for about 30 bucks. Now, the whole process is kind of a do-it-yourself process to build this scaler and get it set up with this custom firmware. But when you do, oh my gosh, the results are amazing. So let me go ahead and hop over to that GitHub page so you can see it right here. So here is the GitHub page. I'll leave a link to the description in this. But you can see right here, he talks about its low lag, very sharp and defined, good color reproduction with triple 8-bit video. So just super nice. You know, it's the ability to transcode and transcode video. You can work with component inputs. You can work with RGBS. I mean, it's super, and VGA. It's a super good little scaler once you add this firmware to it. So let me go ahead and show you what the GBS-8200 looks like. I'm sure a lot of people have seen these online. You see them on eBay all the time, or AliExpress and Amazon for just a cheap, inexpensive scaler. These are like usually between $10 and $20. If you shop around, you can get them really cheap. I've even heard of some eBay auctions listing them for maybe $5. So very inexpensive scaler. Just gotta show you some of the pictures here. If you notice right now too, it's only VGA on both sides for the input, and of course you have the component input too. Let me see if I can get so the red, blue, and green here. So that's the scaler board, and this by itself is not a very impressive scaler, but if you add a couple more things to it and the custom firmware that we're showing here, then it's an amazing scaler. So the next thing is that you're going to need some type of VGA to HDMI adapter. This is the one that I picked up off of Amazon. It was like $5, and it's important to note that this one has an audio in, so it transcodes audio to that HDMI port. But so this, if you go ahead and you connect that to that 8200 GBS-8200, now you have an HDMI out, which is actually what I'm going to show you today and how I'm capturing all my video. I'm also capturing my video to a data path E2S. You're also going to need some type of power adapter. You know, these are inexpensive. You can usually get them for a couple of bucks, especially if you buy them on like AliExpress. You might get them for just $1, maybe less. You're also going to need an Arduino, not just any Arduino, but the ESP8266. This is a 3-pack that's on Amazon. I think it's like $12 for this 3-pack. I've seen these actually go as cheap as $1 on AliExpress, so they're not very expensive. And then the last thing you're going to need is you're going to need some type of SCART to VGA adapter. Now, or you could use anything with like a sync strike adapter, or if you have a crosspoint, Extron crosspoint switcher, you can come directly out of that, either in a VGA or RGBS signal. And probably the easiest way for most people to get an input into these is using this SCART adapter here. It's probably the cheapest. These are pretty easy to make, not very difficult, and there's quite a few people selling them online. If you look around, so this is what you need to put the whole assembly together. But you're probably wondering, what does this thing look like, and how good does the video look? So I figured I would fire up the OSSC really quick, and if you take a look here, this is what this is coming out of my RGBS modded NES Junior, my SNES Junior. And it has a really nice looking picture here. I figure we'll go ahead and just show you some of the test patterns really quick. Let's go into color bars. So there are my color bars. They look pretty nice. You know, looks good. Nice clean pattern. No complaints there. Just go ahead and do some SMPTE color bars. So these look really good, nice and clean, colors are good. But let's go ahead and check out a couple more things really quick. Let's go ahead and do the drop shadow test. So the drop shadow test is a really good test for scalers. Here we have this little star-looking pattern here. As I move it around, you should be able to see through it, and it should be transparent. And what this is this little design right here is actually pulsating between on and off. So like if you pause the video right now and you pause it just right, you might see this as a big black square, or if you pause it, or a big black shape. If you pause it just right, it might be totally gone. And it's basically every other frame, it's pulsating back and forth between being on and off, and that should create a nice shadowing effect. And so as we can see right here, it's transparent, and that's what we want it to be, and we should see it move through it. So looks pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead and look for another, for the stripe sprite test. So this shows whether or not the deinterlacing is working correctly. And of course, we should be able to move this around and on and off the screen here. And we should get a nice clean, we shouldn't see the lines like jiggle or wiggle or anything. We should be able to move it around, and it should be transparent. And it should look nice and clean. And if it's not, if we can see some of the deinterlacing here, we can see that the scaler is not working properly. And in this case here, it looks pretty good. So you're probably at this point, you want to see the lag test. How fast is this scaler? So let me go ahead and come back here to my desktop here. I have recorded some video in 240p, I'm sorry, not 240p, in 240 frames a second here. And basically, this is the scaler right here. If you take a look at it right here, how I have mine hooked up, I have it in a nice little case that I've gotten for it. And then I have my Arduino right there on top of it. But I've got the video outputting to my CRT as well as my LCD monitor. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and play it. I'll go ahead and try to pause it. So like this is a great picture here. We can see that it's on the 2 here on the CRT, and it's on the 1 on the LCD monitor. And of course on the counter here, we can see that this is at a 40 and that this is at a 41. So pretty much just one frame of lag. Let me see if I can pause it here. So here's another good one. Here we are on the 2 and then again on the 3. And again, we can see it's about one frame of lag. Let me go ahead and play it again. Again, it's on the 3, it's on the 4. Total time is about one frame of lag. I have heard that some people have said that this thing is as fast as a half frame of lag, and that could be the LCD monitor that I'm using here. It could be, it's not necessarily a great monitor, it's just one of these standard Dell computer monitors. So it's probably a little bit slow, but this is an incredibly fast scaler. I'll go ahead and see if I can pause it again. So again, we can see it's on the 3 and on the 4, and we can see here it's on the 14 and the 15. So just a really fast little scaler now. Again, we're on the 23 and the 24 and on the 4 and the 5. So just a really fast little scaler. So now that you've seen all of the 240 test suite stuff, you're probably wondering, what does this thing really look like? So what does it look like in actual gameplay? And I'm going to go ahead and show you here. Give me a second and let me go ahead and restart my Nest Junior here. Power it off, power it on. Let me sync back my Bluetooth remote here. I'm using an 8BitDo gamepad. And I guess let's go ahead and start with Super Mario World. That's kind of like the catch-all for the Super Nintendo, just for a test. I think everybody knows how this looks. And I'm going to kind of stop talking just so we can sit back and just kind of watch everything.
Round one, fight! Round two, fight! Round
Bear with me as I resync my Bluetooth controller here. I'm using one of the 8-bit controller, DOE controllers, and it's synced back up.
Option.
So if you've been watching this long, you're probably pretty interested in this scaler by now. You can see that the video quality is absolutely fantastic as I'm capturing it, and it just looks really good. So you might be wondering, how do you control this scaler? And actually that Arduino that you connect to it, so allows you, it has a Wi-Fi module on it, and it actually has a little web server in it, and you control it by connecting to it via a web browser. And I'll go ahead and show you what that interface looks like. So this is the interface right here. You can set what resolutions you want. You can set custom presets. I'll just kind of go ahead and move through everything really quick. So here are the picture controls. You can move the picture up and down, left or right, adjust the gain. You have enhancements like scan lines, and actually the scan lines look pretty good. I'll come back to those and show you what they look like. You can also go ahead and do different types of preferences here. You can also toggle whether you're going to use the YPBPR component video. You can select whether you're going to use Powell. You can also mess with the frame locking here, and decide which type of deinterlacing you're going to use. So you can use the Motion Adaptive or the Bob versions for deinterlacing there. There's also a whole section for development, so you can go ahead and get lots of information out of the system, and I'll show you kind of what that looks like. Of course, you can also restart the system here. So let me go ahead and move back over to the picture enhancements, and I'm going to go ahead and put on the line filtering, and let me turn that on. Let me go ahead and turn on the scan lines, and then let me move it into like 40 here. That was what I really liked looking at that. And let me go ahead and move it back in here to Gradius, and I'll move through the scan line options. So you can kind of see they're in here right now. I'm going to go ahead and, they're turned on. I'm going to go ahead and just start strengthening them. And actually what I'll do is, especially seeing like the text at the top, it looks really good. So right here, this is at a 30% scan line here. I think like the 30 to 40 looks really good. Go ahead and put on another game real quick here. Put on something with some scan lines so that we can see how they look. Let me resync my controller here. So let's go into some Final Fight. That's a game that looks great with scan lines. So, and I know that scan lines don't always come across over the internet very good, so I'm really interested to see how they look. Again, I'll turn it off with line filtering off and line filtering on here. And when you use some scan lines, you're really going to want to use them with that line filtering on. Just so you can see see them one more time. I'll kind of shuffle through all of them. Give me just 1 second here. So that's with the line filtering on at 30%. Let me go ahead and move it to 20. And they kind of get darker as they go lower. So it's 20, 10, and 0. So it's super duper dark. And then we'll move it back up to 50. I really kind of like them around 40, 30 to 40. I think they look really good there at 30. And of course, scan lines are always a preference. Again, I'm kind of just moving through them. I think I'll go back to this 40 here. I really like that spot for this guy. I think these look really good. Also with that line filter on, it really does Anyway, this has been a look at the GBS-control custom firmware. Great little scaler. I hope you enjoyed the video.